Yeah,
You having fun over there? Huh?
Yeah,
He learned.
I
He,
got
he learned a new word today.
money.
No, the word no.
Well, he gonna learn to say that a lot. That'll get him really far.
Yeah, he learned the word no because he liked to wash his hands and if we don't take him, if we take him to the sink, he have his moment.
Let's see here. I got a recording of my last game against the Chicago Cubs. It's at the top of the ninth, and it's only let's see, man's on second, one out.
Okay.
Man, waiting
All
to
right.
get to that moment.
140. First and Framerates podcast.
Cinco de Mayo edition.
Pretty much.
Ain't nobody drinking around here apparently.
No, I can't. I got to be back to work in the morning. I can't drink. Sadly. It's the only thing I don't like about this quarantine thing. I at some point I get kind of jealous of everybody who stay at home because I would like to have at least a whole week to stay at home. But
not like your governor issued a stay-at-home order.
No, I'm gonna tell you something. Even if he did, these people here in South Carolina did not follow no rules this entire time.
Well, you know
people
what?
were out and about like it was nothing. Every time we go somewhere, it was people took precautions, they didn't be up on each other or they did practice social distancing. But as far as people staying at home, man, these places was just as packed as could be.
Well, our beach is about to open, Ocean City, this weekend. Of course, okay. I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't feel comfortable, man, stay home. That's all I really got to say.
Well, the thing is, we have stay-at-home orders being issued.
Well, I ain't worrying about the orders. I'm just saying, if you ain't feeling comfortable, say, because me personally, I'm kind of against those type of orders. But if you really don't feel comfortable being out because you might get sick, yeah, stay at home. I ain't nobody I'm not gonna tell nobody one way or another to stay at home. It's just that if you know your immune system fucked up, if you know that you don't trust being around people, just stay at home. I mean that's my thing. But these people here in Carolina, business as usual. I mean, some stores just straight up defied not to close, and the governor, for the most part, didn't do anything, but it's just crazy how things went. I'm just surprised we haven't had a serious outbreak here, honestly.
Don't worry, it's coming.
Episode 140, First and Framerates. Saying the whole crew is here. We're going to talk about NBA Live 21. Really bad information came out as far as that game goes. Also, on Counter-Strike. A lot of people may not know about this game because it's a PC game. It's a long-running PC game. Probably one of the oldest PC games that are on Steam and still very, very popular to this day. And we're going to find out why it's popular. And we're going to find out why this pro player got sentenced to all this time. Also, we had The Last Dance episode 5 and 6. Yeah, it was 5 and 6 already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 weeks of it already.
Two more weeks.
Okay, so we're gonna add our 2 cents about that, and pretty much, just keep it moving. Thanks for everybody who's been supporting us, keeping us relevant in these streets, past spreading the word, letting everybody know what we do here. Best, smallest podcast out here, especially when it comes to sports and gaming. I truly believe that. Let everybody know what we do here. Obi-Wan, thank you for giving us a shout out in the chat. How you doing? And Bills, just gonna start with you, man. How was your weekend?
Same old shit, working and marketing starting, I guess, tomorrow or Thursday. So, just kind of preparing for flooding people's timelines with content. So,
okay, that's cool. DJ, what about yourself?
Well, I think it was mainly a quiet weekend up until Monday. Well, of course, watching Last Dance. I actually watched that Sunday and was not expecting the last episode of the Clone Wars to drop until 3 a.m. on Monday, which was May the 4th, everybody, all you Star Wars fans. That episode dropped at 1 a.m. So I was probably one of the first people on the East Coast that got a chance to see it. So it was a good episode. It was a good finish to the series as a whole. And I am a happy 40-year-old that's watched Star Wars all throughout. So
I'm gonna be honest, I never, ever, and that's not a knock on the series. I never got into Star Wars. Never. Growing up, that never was a thing. Like my mom, she loves it, and my dad, he liked it, but me, I just never got into it. I couldn't tell you any. I maybe watched one of the movies, but I don't know nothing about it. I just never was a fan.
What I've been doing this month, it started right when May hit, was that I've started with what I'm doing is that I'm watching everything that's visible as far as the content is concerned, as far as Star Wars. So I started with, I'm doing all this in Star Wars chronological order. So I started with episode 1, then 2, and this is where you get where I'm happy that I get to watch a Clone Wars, because now there's 7 seasons of Clone Wars that I can watch up until I get back on the movie thing, hit episode 3, and then, on and on with more Star Wars content. So it's going to be a busy viewing month for me. Other than that, I know me and Bill played some Warzone earlier. Interesting to say the least. And we're waiting for you to be available to play some Warzone, so we can get a First and Framerates stream.
That's the thing. Just me being available. Like I was here yesterday, but I had to put food on the grill. My wife wanted barbecue, so I've been grilling out most of the day. Not yesterday, but Sunday, and obviously Monday and Tuesday I've been working, so I'm not going to be available to probably maybe Friday because I'm off the weekend. So that's like the earliest. So
man, nobody care about Halo 2.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I need to finish Halo 2 through 5. I do. I beat Halo 1 again, but I never got around to beating Halo 2. Even on the original Xbox, I never got around to. So that's just going.
I've beaten all the Halos that have mattered. Let's just say that I've beaten 1 through 4. Well, actually, 4 really doesn't matter because that was like post Bungie 343. That was when it started falling off. But I beat Halo 1 through 3. I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Fight.
These YouTube comments are ass. They're just now loading in. I had to refresh. I'm like, fuck. Like, I went to StreamYard and saw all of them, and I'm like, Halo 2, I didn't see anything. And then I went to StreamYard and looked. I'm like, oh, here's all the comments.
See, that's what I was saying earlier. Remember when I popped in? I was like, I had to refresh the page just to appear backstage because it didn't even show that it updated. Yeah, something.
I know we on YouTube, but fuck YouTube. How about that?
Wow.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I was playing a recording of the game I played against the Chicago Cubs. Had that dramatic walk-off home run with Yan Gomes. It's on Twitter. Go check it out. Very dramatic.
Real Football Gamer, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that question. It's a good question. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. So NBA Live 21 has not shown up on the. They haven't showed up on the fiscal report. So what the hell is going on? You got all these other games coming out in 2021, all the announced titles. Let me see. I thought I saved this thing. It's all good. I got it. But it's not showing up. So what the hell is going on with NBA Live? Are we really thinking that this is going to be the end of the series? What the hell is going on?
Honestly, to me, it's no surprise that they don't appear in. And here's the fine print on it is that the information is only good for today. So by midnight tonight, it'll be invalid. But at the same time,
what that's supposed to mean?
Well, that was in the fine print. Didn't you read the fine print when I sent it?
No, I'm looking at
That's
it
supposed
now.
that's supposed to be on top of to be determined. Things could change.
Oh, come on,
That's
that
what I'm
don't.
saying.
I see what you're saying, but that don't mean shit. Yo, they're not going to
That's what
add
I'm
it in.
saying. That's why. That's why when they do stuff like that, it's good to read the fine print because it's just like it's their way of covering their own ass. Like this could change in a heartbeat. Like this
Right.
could be whatever. But no one's really holding their breath. If anything, everybody really wants them to make an NBA Street or some type of playgrounds type game. So the fact that they don't have live listed, it's like, oh well. And I know they put out a message on Twitter talking about I guess they're all in on next gen, but
That's
if you don't have
that's
that
the problem.
listed, then
But see,
you're
this is the
not necessarily all
problem.
in as you plan to be.
You see, this is the.
Did he drop out? Is VF there?
Dun dun dun.
Oh, here we go again. I bet you it was EA Sports that sniped him.
Just like we planned it.
No, I pressed the X button. That was on me.
Wow.
Why are you on here twice?
I don't know.
We got a clone? What the fuck? What is this?
I told you I was watching the Clone Wars. See what happened?
Yeah, that clone's gonna be quiet though. He's not saying anything
until he says something.
But no,
what the fuck?
Did he get sniped again? We're gonna have triplets in here because they can hold up to 6 people, and so we're gonna have like a third one. Oh, okay, he's back to 1. There we go.
There I am.
Oh God, here we go again.
No, basically what happened is if I try to share the screen, it would kick me out. But
VF ain't telling anybody he is drinking on Cinco de Mayo. That's honestly, what's going on.
No, when I hit the X button the first time, I thought it was what it was, but
I'm trying to figure out why you hitting the X button.
No, I'm moving the mouse while I'm working at the same time. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm multitasking. But the second time, I actually tried to share
margarita.
No, the second time I actually tried to hit the screen, I did the screen share and it kicked me out. So I apparently it's not letting me screen share. But if you do see, I'll put it on Twitter.
There we go.
So what I will do, I'll put it on Twitter for people to see that the fiscal report, they don't have NBA Live at all. So if you check my Twitter, is that VF Baller, you can see where that this is a problem, man. I mean, Bills, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, at this point, I can't bring myself to care. I really can't. I mean, it's predictable, and I'm just more so looking forward to what 2K is going to do because Live has been out of sight, out of mind. So, I'm sorry. I don't care whether they put out a game or not.
Speaking of which, there is news on the 2K front. They finally got somebody to fill the position that should have been filled a long time ago instead of having Ronnie 2K's lackey ass being the face of the. So they're now put out there that they're looking to hire a global communications manager.
Okay.
So they need to hire a ratings guy.
Shoot, they need to hire somebody that's not falling asleep at the wheel. As far as these historic teams, got the New York Knicks running the triangle, son. What's going on?
Yeah, let's take Big NBA Live. I mean, 2K can be roasted on another day. But I'm actually really worried about this franchise because now they're not even coming out with the game on the initial release of the next consoles. So now I'm looking at like what NBA Live 22. And we don't even know is the game actually canceled because I mean they can't come out the next fiscal year. I mean, not with Live 21. That'd be ridiculously. That would be dumb.
Look, my thing is, if they quit, they might as well just say it. Just tell everybody. Don't tell me because I believe you guys quit. You guys quit. I see that already. You're not trying to, give people hope or anything. You're just like, and matter of fact, people that are playing Live 19 haven't had an update since they promised them an update. So as far as I'm concerned, that franchise is dead for like the umpteenth time.
I don't know. To me, it really is. I mean, listen, shout out to NLCS podcast guys I listen to. Andrew Bagley, he's all the way in Australia, but he does a great job with following basketball games. He I highly recommend listening to his podcast. He does a fantastic job of doing a podcast over there talking about basketball and basketball gaming. I want to know what his thoughts about it, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna come up in the next episode. But it's something to behold because those guys really want competition. I mean, they probably want it more than we do, and it looks like maybe the next generation, we may not have it at all because I don't see no other company coming out with a game. I mean, 989 is not coming out with what they had. NBA, who cares? It was trash anyway. But
I'm about to say,
I'm just saying, like, we're not getting anything, so it's like I don't know what we're up against. I mean, 2K, I'm pretty sure they're gonna put out a solid game. They always do.
man, they're gonna mess around next gen. Watch, mess around, but like, look, we have nothing that going up against us, so it's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just to me, it's just I'm just really because I'm low key just concerned about it. Not the fact that everybody consensus live is not up to par, live is trash, this, that, and the third. But I really want more than one game. I mean, I don't want. I mean, that just goes for all sports games in general. I don't want to play just one game. I mean, like right now with Madden, people don't realize we have been going with an official NFL game going on legitimately 15 years now. A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, a lot of guys who probably listen to us or people who, just in the football gaming community really don't remember a fresh NFL 2K game or a fresh NFL game from somebody that's not EA. We're also looking at a situation where EA football is what everybody knows. So with that being said, they don't even see a football game in a different light. You know what I'm saying? To me, I think that's the biggest problem with gaming is like with this type of gaming is like we should have some different perspective on these games. I get it that the license is this, the license is that, but like damn, 15 years. I mean, really?
Oh, let me.
I think that's really that's way too long, regardless of a license.
All right, let me address something. Daniel Daly, no, he didn't get fired. He never was he when he was initially hired, I think back in 2008, Ronnie was the communications manager. He's the brand manager. He's not the communications manager. So he didn't get fired. I'm like, they're just hiring for this position now, which is, I'm like, there was a whole discussion. I think it was Brian Mazik on the Forbes.com article that talked about the fact that they needed somebody because there's been this ongoing debate about whether devs should be out there representing the game versus having a singular community manager that can take all the feedback and filter it out and direct it to the devs and the marketing team and stuff like that. So that's where that really came from. And 2K has not had a community manager, like a real community manager, I guess, since Ronnie switched over to the brand manager.
Right. I mean, like I said, we can say what we want about this game, and just we need at least two different games from every genre.
That's true.
Of sports games, you need two different games. To me, it's just no reason why one game is continuously coming out. I mean, as much as you may enjoy that game, I feel that just as a gamer, as a consumer, we should be afforded at least another perspective from another company. And on top of that, competition breeds excellence, regardless of how bad we may think live is. People don't realize that live, really pushed 2K to some extent this generation. Once they realized that live was coming out, they did different things in their game when they could have easily continued to do what they did with 2K12 and 2K13. Nobody wants to talk about those two games. How bad they fell off from 2K11. But as soon as they realized Live 14 was coming out, regardless how we may feel about Live 14, they stepped their game all the way up. And me personally, I don't think they would have stepped their game up to that level if they were the only game in town. To me, it would have probably been like another Madden 25 from PS3 to PS4. That's my opinion. I may be wrong, but when you don't have no incentive of just the threat of a company coming out with something, you could be in a situation where like, all right, whatever, we'll do what we do. Anything else I gotta add? I mean, what do you think about the basketball, hell, even football landscape of next generation? Because right now we're really looking at one game as far as simulation. NFL 2K is supposed to be here, but the way that looks like that's going to be an NFL 2K Playgrounds game, and right now I don't want to talk about that. But
oh shoot, Madden really was a non-factor in the recent virtual draft the NFL draft when they said they were going to at least be a present as far as like the presentational aspect of the virtual draft. And as far as I recall, from what I've seen and tweets or anything, it seemed like the Madden EA squad was missing from that. So, and honestly, with no competition there, it's just like they're gonna mess around. I feel like they're definitely gonna improve the modes that they invested in this past season, especially Superstar KO.
It's gonna be modes and visuals, bro.
Yeah, so
it's gonna be modes and visuals.
I'm like, no, there's no hope for dynamic weather until they prove me otherwise. Right now, it's a no hope for a lot of things until they prove me otherwise.
I mean, you look at what they did. I mean, even with the Living Worlds thing, they did upgrade the crowd to look like more of a crowd, but it was nowhere near what they said it was going to be. You look at you could put on the snow in Madden, and some of the people on the sideline still wearing shorts. I mean, it's just stuff like that. It's just I don't get it. And 2K. One thing I will say about 2K has done a very good job with their crowd. That to be honestly, that's one of the biggest improvements this generation that nobody's talk about. They've done a very good job with the crowds in game. But like I said, NFL 2K is supposed to be coming the next generation. I think it's going to be more of a playgrounds. I'm waiting for the 2K fanboys to buy multiple copies, digital and physical.
That's right.
On different platforms. Yeah, no, that's still going to stand. I expect them to buy at least 3 to 7 copies on each platform: Switch, Xbox. What you about to say?
Nah, I was about to say, Daniel just reminded me, WWE this fall is foregoing a 2K21, the regular for a playground type game. So it's like, Live is guilty as far as the basketball, but 2K is going to be guilty as far as the wrestling.
Yep. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why we need more than one in every aspect: football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, wrestling, rugby, whatever sports title, you need to be 2. Because if you get 1, you're going to have this type of stuff that we're talking about. So EA needs to step their game up. Pooh said something about NBA Street. I'm all for it. If they're going to decide not to be in the simulation realm, at least give us an NBA Street. I'm okay with that. What are your thoughts? Both of you guys.
I think I already said my thoughts as far as I'm like, I just don't have any hope until they prove me otherwise.
No, I was talking about NBA Street. I mean, I know about the simulation.
It's there too. I'm like, I'm getting tired of these companies just kind of just sitting back and just relying on visuals and modes to carry them through.
You ain't lying about that. Jesus Christ. What about you, Bills?
I mean, I'm for an NBA Street. I mean, I've been for an NBA Street because NBA Playgrounds and NBA Playgrounds 2 are both pieces of shit.
Them things are trash.
The street mode in 2K is a piece of shit.
Hey, the street mode in Live 16 was it 16?
Street mode in 16 was good.
And that was dope.
I guess whatever they wanted to call it, it wasn't necessarily. I mean, it was
close enough, right? I was about to say.
I mean, I don't really need like I predicted this, so I'm not really mad about it. I said that next gen live would be completely phased out and we'd go back to 2K resting on their laurels and we'd have to go back to this generation and play NBA 2K20 and call it a day.
I think that's my main problem. It's not the fact that I don't think they're gonna just completely fall off and be a bad game. I just think it gets to the point where the game's gonna be right here and it's not gonna get any better. They're gonna just leave it as it is, and some legacy issues may not even get fixed because they have no reason to.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and that's the problem that I'm looking, that I'm looking at right now. Tell them again, babe. You got my 360 controller. What you gonna do with that?
break it.
Okay.
Let's get to what's his name? Real Football Gamers question. He
Yeah.
asked what our favorite basketball game ever is.
So I've been playing different ones here lately, and I'm not satisfied. If you want a good basketball game, there's two of them that I recommend. It depends. I don't know what kind of console you got or whatever, but honestly, if you get NBA 2K14 on the PS3 or NBA Live 10, those two games, you can get a pretty good experience as far as a total basketball game as well as a good franchise mode.
Are those your favorites though?
Are those my favorite ever?
Yeah, that's what he asked.
I'm gonna be honest. If it's gonna be one of my favorite games ever, it's probably gonna be an arcade game. To be honest with you, I mean, there's nothing like NBA Jam or NBA Hang Time. NBA Hoops is good too. But if we're gonna talk sim, probably my most favorite one of all time will probably be 2K14 on the PS3.
DJ,
Let's see. My favorite would be actually I might have to hold a tie. NBA Street Volume 2 and NBA 2K15.
Okay.
I think NBA Street Volume 2 is the undisputed number one for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would say that NBA 2K20 is my favorite because I can do everything that I've wanted to do.
You sure you're not gonna say NBA 2K9?
Yo. If there was a way I could mute you. No, I mean NBA 2K20, man, it's the complete package. It's a culmination of what they've been working towards. I really enjoy NBA 2K20. I don't really have any complaints other than things that I can fix, but holy shit, they need to fire that ratings guy ASAP. But nah, yeah, 2K20 and then Street Volume 2 is undisputed number one, man.
Yeah.
Okay, did Pooh not take his Viagra today?
I'm tired. I'm headed.
Wow.
I'm headed.
I'm heading to bed. Yes, it's 8:30. Apparently, because I'm old. Whatever.
Ooh,
But he did.
But 20.
Yeah, but anyway, but he did have a question. He said, "What is your favorite wide receiver at 6'1" or under?"
We'll get to that.
Oh, we kind of know where he's headed with that.
I already know my answer. It's me.
No, I know what he's saying
Wow.
with that. I know what he's saying with that because their draft pick. That's why he's saying that.
Man, fuck his draft pick.
Yeah,
he could add that to his irrelevant receipts.
Yeah, he's saying that about Rager. That's why. But honestly, just real quick, 6'1" or under. That I'm gonna have to research that because that's like kind of vague.
For me, it would be Santana Moss.
It's so vague. Daniel Daly said 2K11 through 13. Obi and me and him on the same page. He said 2K14 and Live 10 are his favorites.
Let me tell you something. You can get NBA 2K12 and NBA 2K13 the fuck out of here.
Yeah, those games. The only thing 2K12 had was the lighting when you do it to the Legends. Other than that,
2K13 you couldn't block dunk. So get them out of here.
He said 2K13.
All right, so favorite receiver under 6'1". I'm gonna go Julian Edelman and Lance Allworth for tie.
Yeah, I might do some research because I would say Terrence Mathis from the Falcons. I used to love that guy.
Okay, I was about to say since Bills did too. Like I said,
Daniel Daly, we're really comparing 2K20. Come on, man.
Oh,
you know 2K20 is good. I don't know why people. You know what the issue is? I don't mean to go on my soapbox about this. The reason people complain about NBA 2K20 is because we are what you call spoiled.
2K20 is not a bad basketball game.
2K20,
well, except for the fact that they allow the servers to reset like your controller settings, but that's just me.
Daniel Daly, that's Park though. We're talking about offline,
yeah,
bro.
I do not.
Whose podcast you're on?
No, yeah. See, this is the thing. This is not just with 2K20. This is any game. You cannot rate a game based on online aspects. So you got to understand your server, the person you're playing with against server, and the servers of the company is all at stake. That can alter a game in so many ways that has nothing to do with the development of the game.
So, Dan Daly, when we're talking about these games, we are talking strictly offline. We do not care about how it performs online. That means nothing to us.
That's just like somebody buying a game and they're altering it and they're going to tell you to review it, because you cannot set a standard for something of 3 different things that are going to alter the gameplay. Like I said, all 3 of those servers are going to alter the gameplay. So with that being said, how could you judge a game that has nothing to do with 3 different entities that affects the game when you play it?
Yeah,
I don't care how good your servers are. I don't care how good your internet connection is. You're going to have a time where you're going to have a problem because it's online. There's no internet that's perfect. And once you have that bad experience because of your internet connection, that's not an indictment on the game. That's totally unfair.
I dare anybody right now, if you're going to debate me about NBA 2K20, go and try to find one thing that you can say is either advanced or basic with the game of basketball and tell me that it's not in 2K20. You can't. They have every type of pick and roll coverage. They have every type of double team. The only thing they could add, I guess, with double teams, and it's kind of nitpicking, is, call it from the backside. Okay, fine, whatever. But if we're talking about just like as far as a complete basketball game on the court, 2K20 has everything. It's a culmination.
But see, this is the thing. That's what I'm saying, Bill. It's like when they develop this game and it comes to your home, and you put that game in your console, and if you play straight up based on what's on that disc, or whatever files they download to your console, that's how you should judge the game. You cannot. Hell, I could be honest and say you can't even judge the game based on the first patch it get. You should judge it based on exactly the way they developed it. Like I said, anything that's outside forces, that's not fair to the developers. That's like somebody making a song, Bills, and the DJ gets your record and starts slowing down or speeding up the song, and they're blaming you for that. It's like, you can't blame you for that. You created the song the way you wanted to create it. Like, if outside entities mess up that song, you're the developer, but that's not your fault.
And when it comes down to it, 2K20 is like people, and it was kind of the same with 2K19, because I remember me and VF were like definitely on the same page as far as 2K19, where people were like, oh, this game changed. Yesterday I played it and it was like this, and now I'm like, bro, I haven't seen any change in the game throughout. I don't know where y'all looking at. And then you find out they're playing online, and I'm like, oh, of course.
This is why when you see all those crazy Madden clips when the Madden first come out,
yep,
you see all that craziness. People are flipping and everybody molding into each other and pushed up against each other because they can't pick up a fumble. Find out what they're playing on. They're playing to get somebody online. That's why you can't blame that on the devs.
Then you got people like Ryan Moody. I'm gonna call his ass out. Say, oh, you must have a magic disc that you're playing on. No, I just have something called Logic, and I show the settings that I'm playing on every time I show the game, and it has an issue. Like, come on, bro.
We're not going to sit here and say no game has no issue, but when you add certain things to the game, that's where I have to question, like, if somebody makes a video or if somebody shows a clip and you find out you're playing on competition against somebody that's 2,000 miles away, who's to say that their service is not fucking up the game?
If I see my team jerseys in your gameplay video, I'm automatically discounting anything you say about the game.
Or that my team tag that's supposed to be the real team up there, like Baltimore, but you see something like TAG as their team.
Right. And you playing in some fucking backlot court or some shit, playing one of them. Nah, bro.
And then you wonder why everybody run around like Bo Jackson from Tecmo Bowl.
Right. And And it's not, I'm not knocking people's preference. If that's how you want to play, that's how you want to play. Just know that I'm discounting completely your view of the game as a whole because you play one mode and it's the mode that has the most factors that can easily damage that game.
Right.
So your whole perception of the game is different based on all the factors
I mean,
that
not
you have
only
to
that,
take into account.
even if you don't even play online, if you're playing MUT offline, the game is already built to play arcade like.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not playing sim if you're playing MUT. So you're going to have these quarterbacks or these offensive linemen that can catch like tight ends in MUT already. So you can't blame like, oh, they're not made. The sim part of this game is fucked up. Well, you're playing MUT. What do you expect?
The only games that should be judged online, I can't even really say strictly, but for the most part online are shooters.
I agree with that. I agree because the games are built for that.
Right, but sports games, come on, there's no way you can. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we saw the clip I sent you about Shaq shooting threes and doing hop steps from the free throw line. It's like
that. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, that shit made me laugh.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But if somebody looking at that
shit made me laugh, though.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. But I'm saying, but if you look at something like that and you're sitting there talking about, oh shit, the shit's fucked up. I'm like, dude, he's playing my team with the whatever type of rock silver shack or whatever they call it for. Oh,
amethyst.
Yeah, like sometimes they got a ruby shack or a diamond McGrady, and which I don't understand what the fuck that means. But you got these guys that are like shooting threes from half court, and you talk about the game's messed up.
You know
what
to
expect?
Here's one thing I'll say. There's one thing I can thank. There's one thing I can thank my team for. These badges that we got this year.
Yeah.
Because those came from there. As far as the gold and Hall of Fame and all those different tiers, I can thank my team for that. But that's about it. Other than that, no.
Yeah.
But Daniel Daly's question was, how are these games gonna do the microtransactions? Is that the forum for it? Of course it is. I mean, you see it in MUT, right? You see it in my team. You see it in Diamond Dynasty, in MLB The Show. It's definitely there. Once they get you to buying them damn cards.
Oh, they can give a fuck about sim at that point.
That's what I'm saying. So no, that's definitely the equation. It's going to get even worse next gen. Just watch.
Ravens Nation said it perfectly. He said you can't judge games by online unless if it's strictly an online game, even if that's not entirely possible. But that's what I'm saying. Most of these shooters now, believe it or not, most of these shooters are built to be online only. They just give you the luxury to give you a campaign now.
Some of them are coming out without a damn campaign.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Call of Duty's came out without one.
You see, back then when we started playing games in the PS2 or PS3 era, when it came to actual shooters, back then it was campaign first, online second. Now it's opposite. Like, look, we're going to give you this online, and you better be lucky that we give you a campaign. That's just basically how it is now. So, like Bill said earlier, all these shooters, you have the right to judge them for online gameplay because the game is built like that. Now, these sports titles aren't built like that. They can't build them like that.
It's like if you bought Uncharted 4 and you bitched about the online, and you're like, this game is ass. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Like you're doing it to yourself. It's not what the game's for. And when we try to tell people that, they shouldn't put it in there, then okay, all right, whatever.
Right, exactly. So it's like that's why I never like understood how people like bash a game and like the only way you can really critique a game, you cut the game on, play offline, and whatever happens in that is basically how they made the game. You cannot, like I said, you cannot put a server, let alone you playing against somebody. That's two servers, that's two internet connections plus the server from EA or 2K or whatever. Those are three entities that's going to mess up the game. Nobody's internet connection is perfect. So when something happens, you better call Comcast. That's all I got to say.
Plus the fact that a lot of those games are on Hall of Fame by default.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help.
And that's another thing, because when you do play online against somebody, some of those difficulties are on default.
I've been bullshitted many a time.
Right.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's jump to this Counter-Strike player.
Oh, real quick, just so we can see if we can get an answer for Pooh, because he keeps asking about it. Art Monk, was he under 6'1", DJ?
Nope.
No,
he was 6'2".
Yeah.
Okay,
But
So
6'2", yeah, it was like 6'2",
But under
6'3".
6'1", I said I like for under 6'1", I said Terrence Mathis.
Oh yeah, you said Terrence Mathis. So yeah,
Yeah, and I said Santana Moss, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
was being for real, me. That too.
that's funny.
My last name's Jordan. I got to include myself
Right.
because I ended games at wide receiver. Just know that.
I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna put it in the chat.
All right.
Oh, and I'm gonna step away for a second. Hold on.
Go ahead, do your thing. I don't put that in the chat because I am not taking a chance and putting this shit back up and I get kicked out of this chat again. I'm not doing that. Every time I try to, yeah. So just there's the link right there so everybody can see. Did I drop it? No, here we go. All right, Counter-Strike Counter-Strike Pro player receives a 116-year prison sentence for fraud. Cheyenne, call him Shay, Victorio.
It's a she.
Oh, it's a she.
It's a she. I think it's Cheyenne.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a female. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. Well, anyway, has been convicted of fraud, but is fighting the charges and likely won't spend a life in prison. Former Counter-Strike professional player has been hit with a huge sentence after a conviction of fraud. Let's go down and see what happened. Okay. She parlayed her success at professional Counter-Strike into a large online following. She's accused of operating a storefront that did not deliver on its sales to customers, with more than 100 customers left without items paid or for a refund. Despite the sentencing, she's from Brazil, so despite the sentencing, Brazil puts a 30-year limit on prison time for its citizens.
And now she's passing the buck to somebody else, basically.
I know, right? So she's also appealing the case, stating that her former business partners on the side are to blame, including the ex-husband. Oh yeah. It's just so conveniently to add him in there, right?
Right, of course.
All right, I'm playing catch up, so I guess we're on the. Okay, I see.
In a statement on her Insta page, Victorio clarifies that as she is currently in an appeals process, she's not been arrested. She'll only be taken into custody if the appeal fails, but her lawyer told Universal Online that they consider the sentence, quote, inhumane, and that they seek a new decision from the court under the guide. That is pretty severe.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I remember seeing this.
I need to find out how much money that they got off of this, because that's 100 people. I'm not gonna say 116 is suffice, but still, I just want to know how much money it is.
As of last year, Victoria had left the world of professional Counter-Strike to focus on her work as a social media influencer. So here's the funny thing, right? Is like a lot of these people that start out in the gaming industry, like Ninja's eventually going to do it. He's going to get to the point where he's not going to have to game anymore. And he's just going to be a person who is a social media influencer. And she clearly had built up her clout enough to where she could become a social media influencer. But that makes me think even more that she was running some type of bullshit. She can't pass it off on others.
Yo,
she just conveniently quit playing the game and became a social media influencer. Come on, fam.
This is what I think this happened. I think her and a bunch of other people probably wasn't. I don't think that she did this all by. I mean, you scammed over 100 customers and didn't pay. I don't think it was just her. She may be in the right by saying she's blaming former business partners, quote unquote business. I think they all got into this together, and they probably set her up to have her name on everything.
Yeah, I think they hipped her to it, and they told her that this was another way for her to kind of pocket some money and run a scam. And I think she knew all about it. I don't think I think she pretty much oversaw it. Like she was the overseer here.
Yeah,
either that or somebody else oversaw it and had it in her name.
Yeah.
She probably did one of those things I try to do when it comes to the stock market. Stay on something until it grows to its biggest potential and then sell it.
I will, yeah, all right.
So
this is to me. I'm just. I need to know how much money that was involved, and I can see the sentencing, because I mean, you got to understand. I don't know if y'all know how this is, how Counter-Strike works. Counter-Strike is they make a lot of money off Counter-Strike with microtransactions. The thing about microtransactions with Counter-Strike, they're legit. They're not like no loot box gambling or anything. Whatever you buy, you buy. Now, I don't know if you guys know the story about T. Martin. T. Martin was a guy that actually ran a storefront that actually had it like they were gambling or they were selling skins, like skins of the guns or whatever, or the weapons, and they were selling them back. They were selling them back. They were selling them back for real legit money, and that went down like a couple of years ago. So it was more like you buy this and you get that, but they had to go on an offline, a different site to make it a loot box type thing because Counter-Strike themselves don't do the loot box thing.
Yeah, so, I found another article.
What's that?
Let me send this to the DM.
So that's what yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, who even knows? Like, dude made his name off of the whole yeah, he did Call of Duty too. Yeah, I mean, he was like really big. I don't know if they're still doing it, but T. Martin, somebody ratted him out, and it was like it was a big deal.
They said she did this shit for 4 years.
Yeah, she did it from 2013 to 2017. It says it in the initial.
And she played 10 years. She played the game 10 years.
She looked like she up to no good though.
I was just about to say that. I was like, look at the picture. You can tell that bitch low key a scammer.
She looked like
she probably got an OnlyFans page now.
Yeah, she's scamming people more ways than one if that's the case.
Snapchat Premium.
Right.
Yeah.
Come and sign up for my Snapchat Premium.
I know, right? I'm in Brazil.
Snapchat Premium.
I don't know. I mean, when you look at this, like I said, at the end,
you got like Pornhub for free out here.
No, that's Pornhub for pay. That's what that shit is.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's like, why are these people paying these people for premium this and OnlyFans, and they got Pornhub just all over the place?
And that's not, and like I said, it's I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, that's a different subject for another day. I don't get it why these people are paying these women for that. I mean, I'm not saying like, look, they may have, you know, some men may feel like they have gifts that they want to tip. I get it, but you paying a monthly subscription for something that you can get just by, you know, Googling. I don't get it. I mean, you know, you can use that money to do something else.
like pay a hooker. Fuck.
I don't know, man.
Look at some virtual shit.
I don't know, man. You pay for something like that, you might get something back, and it's not a refund.
Hey, they giving presents you'll never forget, man. All right?
You never forget. You got that right. So, man,
you can die happy all you want.
Yeah, right. My thing is, I need to know, like, how much money that they scam people out of.
It had to be a ridiculous amount.
It had to be 116 years. I mean, I think, because see, once I find out how much money they got off of this, then I can understand the actual sentence. Because if I find out they got everybody for $1, then I'm like, you know what?
They said the maximum she can spend in jail was 30 years.
Yeah,
30. Yeah.
You know, that's Brazilian law. I get it. You know, but
that's another thing about Brazil. You know,
but
a lot of stuff down there.
But once again, that goes to tell you, if 30 years is the max, but they gave her 116, how severe was the crime then? That makes you want to think. You know what I mean? Like
see, that's why I'm looking it up now. I'm trying to see.
Like, if you find out how much money they got off of this, I need to know, because it has to be a substantial amount. If it's 30 years is the max, but they gave them damn near, four times the sentence. So I mean, because logically they'd be like, okay, you get 30 years, go, but we're going to give you 116 to make sure your punk ass never get out. So it had to be something. All right, that's just me. Anything else y'all got? I mean, we got
bitch better start OnlyFans, like I said.
You better hurry up, because they're coming to get them once that appeal up. But seriously, if you have a PC, I highly recommend getting on Counter-Strike just to play casually. It's a really good game to play still to this day. I think this game came out like in 2003. It's still very well supported within the community. And every time I go on Steam and I look at like top sellers or recently updated, it's always like somewhere, in the top 20 or something. And I just find that like crazy that people still play this game. It's either top selling or recently updated or mostly played. I don't get it, but people still love this game. I highly recommend it. It's usually cheap. Y'all got anything else? Did somebody say something about coronavirus in the chat?
I don't know, but
I thought I saw the word in the chat. Never mind.
He said if she had done gaming as a side thing to make extra money, dumb bitch.
I think that's what it sounded like. That's what it started as until they started frauding people.
Okay, hold up. I did some digging.
All right, what we got?
See. Okay, so I had to take this directly off the Brazilian article, so I had to translate it.
Yeah, okay, I see the Universal Online one.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. The TV Famoso.
Yeah. That's the Universal one. Okay.
Okay, so it says as not counted or value of 116 customers credited. So pretty much it was, I think, 116 counts, I think, served a year each.
Okay, because it said okay.
Consumers in absurd and does not amount to. I don't know what the currency is down in Brazil. I don't know if it's pesos or whatever, but it was like 50.
Yeah, I see it right there. It said as counts in the deed, the value of these 116 consumers were credited in court, and several lawsuits are filed by Mega.
It's credit for loans in non-public areas returned due to arbitrary acts that are being discussed in travel. So I don't think the translation is exact.
It's not a good one, yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like around like 50,000 whatever. I don't know if it's pesos or I don't know if it's
whatever that
else in Brazil.
So 50,000 pesos is only like $2,000. I just looked it up.
So they do pesos in Brazil?
That's the thing. Hold up, let me see.
But you also got to understand, U.S. money down there is worth a lot.
Let's see.
The Brazilian currency,
Brazilian real.
That's what the R is. That's what the R is. Real.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the official currency of Brazil. It's subdivided into 100 centavos.
So it's 8,000. So it's about $9,000.
Yep.
Okay, about $9,000.
Yep.
116 years for $9,000. Damn.
That's a bit much. She just
that is. If anything, I think she probably should get like 3 years. You know?
Yeah, just go sell pussy, man.
She probably would have made. She would have definitely made a lot more doing that.
I mean, she's not. She's not a good looking. She's not.
The thing is, it's not like you're frauding anybody.
I mean, I meant to say she actually is a good looking girl. So
I was about to say, like, she ain't that nice looking. Like,
I'm like, she wouldn't have been frauding anybody unless she had some fake parts on her. But
well, shit, she's giving out fake sales. She had to have some fake parts.
Well, shoot,
bitch,
it
fake
ain't nothing
all
like.
around.
Remember that one chick that was selling everybody her bath water?
Oh hell no! We ain't talking
that shit was disgusting.
And somebody drank it.
Somebody bought it. Somebody actually bought it, and they did it on the YouTube channel, showing that they got it in the mail. Like what?
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about episode 5 and 6 of The Last Dance? I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing because you know me. I'll just say this: I am enjoying the documentary, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, this was the inside edition of the documentary because then we got a little bit more into Jordan's dark side. Not because he's dark skinned, but I'm just saying because you got to hear about his gambling issue, and we also got to hear a little bit about him and Scotty, and then going off on Tony Kukoc. We also the icing out of Isaiah Thomas, which I think was clarified that it wasn't just Michael or Scotty. I think somebody clarified that it was also Magic, Larry, and I think another person that was icing out Isaiah, which honestly I could care less because, it's Isaiah Thomas who really gives a fuck at this point. But yeah, I liked it because I would say that this week it really showed me more about Tony Kukoc as a player and how he was more respected than I thought he was on the Bulls because of the fact that Jordan and Pippen went at him. And it was really because of Jerry Krause. It's just because Jerry Krause liked him, like Tony Kukoc, and was trying to sign Kukoc to a contract before, working with Pippen. That's what really got Jordan and Kukoc to really go at
that's one thing I will say.
Jordan and Pippen to go at Kukoc.
That's one thing I will say real quick. The Tony Kukoc aspect of the documentary was really interesting because that's something that I low-key did not know. And what I liked about it is the fact that he came back and he played a better game. And you
that too.
You do that against guys like that. I mean, there's no way you cannot get respect. I mean, he did a really good job of coming back after they pushed him around the first time. So I will give him props for that. But that's one interesting part because everything else is pretty much common knowledge. But I did not know about the Kukoc thing.
But you know what? In a way, I felt like Jordan kind of distanced himself from the way Pippen handled it. Because he didn't he also say, I don't think the way Scotty took it was fair at all. I was just, I'm thinking, like I said, with Jordan, it was about Krause. I mean, Pippen, it was about Krause saying, you think this guy's going to replace me?
That's what I'm about to say. I think that's what it was about more because there was already rumblings about them not trying to keep Pippen from the beginning, Mm-hmm. So I can understand that, but I do like the toughness of Kukoc. It made me look at Tony Kukoc in a different light because we kind of knew with him being on the Bulls, we saw him as like de facto the fourth wheel. But at the end of the day, we kind of saw him as a guy that actually could have went somewhere else and actually played pretty decent. Would he have been a superstar? No, but we knew that he had game to give you at least 17 and 9.
But you know what? With that aspect, remember when Jordan was out of the league for that year and a half, Tony Kukoc in the playoff game against the Knicks hit the game winner, and surrounding that whole game winner is the fact that Scottie Pippen, since he wasn't getting the ball, chose to set out that play, which to this day is still a bitch move. I'm like, look, you're supposed to be number 2. You were number 2 when Jordan was here. You were anointed number 1 while he was gone. And because you weren't getting the ball, you chose to set out. You probably would have missed the shot anyway. So I was just like, Pippen, you're still a bitch for that to this day. Yeah, I'm also a Jordan. I can hold grudges too.
Those, I know you got a lot to say. What are your thoughts?
Especially on that gambling shit.
I mean, I'll say this again. This documentary is put together really well as far as the production and how they present it. I just have an issue with how they're presenting some things, but I mean, that's not going to change. I think that what David Aldridge said about Jordan's gambling was utterly ridiculous because you can't say that, he has it clearly. $10 to us is like $10,000 to Jordan is like $10 to us. It's like, yeah, well, he still had gambling debt, so clearly it's not. Then on top of that, I think that I said this on Twitter, the going to Atlantic City thing to me is only a big deal because of the fact that it's during a playoff series. Now, I get why he's saying he did it. I don't believe it, but I mean, I have no choice but to take him at his word as far as that's concerned. He wanted to get away from the series. I already said I think the motherfucker was point shaving. And the only reason I think that is because as competitive as he was, you can't tell me that Jordan didn't say, you know what, I'm so good, I can point shave, play like shit in certain parts of these games, and we still gonna beat these motherfuckers. We're down 2-0. Okay, cool. I think he's point shaving. It'll never be proven. He'll never admit it. I think he was. It was a completely different Jordan those next 4 games. That was a switch that even Michael Jordan couldn't flip based on some type of emotional hardship or things like that. That motherfucker was just like, all right, kitty games is over. Y'all can go back to the kitty table where you belong. There's levels to the shit. And I think that's what he did. And look, I respect him for that. I don't have any issue with a dude shaving points. I mean, look, you want to bet, you want to make money on the side. Who am I to say any different? He's great enough to do it. I believe he could. I think he did. But what David Aldridge said about the gambling, I think was utterly ridiculous.
I think there were mad semantics. Like for the people that were talking about it, and not necessarily Jordan, because I heard, he has a competitive.
Right.
He's addicted to competition. He has a competitive problem. I was like, no, even to this day, he doesn't even understand that he's addicted to it.
It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, bro, you have a gambling problem.
And then was it Kerr or was it Paxson that talked about the fact that they were playing for $10 and Paxson talking about they playing at the front of the plane for like $10. They're playing the back Jordan them for $10,000.
That was funny though.
It wasn't enough to play for $10,000, but it was just like, they got money too. You know,
the way he said it though is like, why you want to play with us? He says, because I want your money.
I want your money in my pocket.
That was funny.
Because the thing is, to me, it's like, okay, think about it from this perspective. If Jordan was, if he had a competitive problem, if he had a competitiveness problem rather than a gambling problem, then the gambling part would not apply in these golf games to the point where he knows he's not that good at golf compared to professional golfers, and he would be driving that price up. Competitiveness would say, oh no, I'm just gonna beat you because I'm gonna beat you. I'm not gonna go into this as Michael Jordan, the basketball player, and think I'm gonna beat, Tiger Woods as an example, the golfer, for however much money. He's not that stupid. He has a gambling problem because it gives him a rush of adrenaline. And a lot of people are like that.
I'm not going to say that he still has it, but at the time it was obvious.
No, he's still in denial.
I think he's still in denial.
No, I think
he was smiling when he was saying, I have a competition problem.
This is what I'm saying. Like, now we don't hear like recent stories, but it was obvious back then he did.
No, but what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying is I think he's in denial about back then.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. I definitely agree. I mean, I do, because when we all know the situation when a lot of people wanted to say that because his dad passed away and he was grieving because his dad wanted to watch him play baseball. I never heard that, and I never heard that even back then.
I'm gonna get to that.
So I never heard that back then, but we knew that. Like, what's his name? Who said that in the chat? Hold on, let me look at it. Where is it? Oh, Daniel Daly said the dude was in an interview with the Shades.
Yo, I forgot about that interview.
That interview right there is like, your ass look guilty as shit. You know what I'm saying?
but just think about that. I'm gonna go back to the point shaving shit for a minute. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first two games they lose in New York, where they pretty much always dominated, even in the series that they were close, like he still played well, right? And then he decides, instead of rallying the troops, that he himself is going to take his ass to Atlantic City without anybody else. Right. And then all of a sudden he pops back up and he's like, all right, y'all motherfuckers ready to win the series? That's what I think.
Right, exactly.
I think it was, I need to give them something to talk about to take away the pressure, not the pressure, but the attention from how poorly I played in certain parts of this game, because then it would, kind of be too obvious. So let me go to Atlantic City real quick. I'll take the pressure off my teammates and I'll put it on me because I can handle it. I'm the best in the world. I think that's what it was. And it was also the fact that, yes, he has a fucking gambling problem. And he included his daddy in it because his daddy said, hey, maybe we should go down to Atlantic City. Oh, his eyes lit up. Oh, hell yeah, we should. So it's like, for me, like, I'm like, that's where I look at his greatness and I'm like, this motherfucker stayed out till, let's call it 2 a.m., came back and gave these niggas work.
Right.
Work. For the next 4 games, just work, nigga. So it's like, I was impressed. Like, 93 Jordan to me is the best version of Jordan. Like, there's no way you can do that shit and not be the best version of yourself. Like, that motherfucker was just on another level. And they said it themselves. They said he understood that at that point, he was just there to win them the game. He was there to, in certain situations, be himself, but he didn't have to do it for 48 minutes like he used to have to.
Man, I just looked up and saw what Pooh just said. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna overlook that. I'm gonna overlook that.
But okay, so let's talk about this Clyde Drexler series.
Oh,
because some of the 92 series?
The 92 series. Okay, look. If it was in this generation and I was obviously the age I am now and them motherfuckers are trying to compare Clyde Drexler to Michael Jordan, I would slap the fuck out of somebody. Michael Jordan was as offended as I am about that shit. He gave Clyde Drexler work like every other superstar gave Clyde Drexler work. Clyde Drexler didn't show up in one single major important series that his team needed him to. The Trailblazers could have made the finals for 5 straight fucking years, and Clyde Drexler underperformed when it mattered.
Why they say that Jordan was 1 and Clyde was number 2 when Clyde was averaging 26 and 5?
Especially with Charles Barkley in the
26 and 5 when nobody else take a
No. Wait a minute. Not 26. 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. 20 points.
20 points. 20 points in the West where these motherfuckers are getting shot up. Yo.
That's what I'm trying to figure. Like, how is he number 2?
Bro, he wasn't
in
even
92.
He wasn't even better than Alex English in the 80s. Then you get to the 90s. It's like, come on, bro. And also what I talked about with NY Kia, NY Kia, he posted something. He's like, he was top 5 during his generation. But can we sit and name 5 reputable shooting guards?
I'll take that back. He was averaging 25. I'll take that back.
But can we name 5 reputable shooting guards from back then? And that's excluding Jordan.
No, like I said, back then it was him and Jordan, honestly.
It was him, Jordan, and Dumars. And Dumars wasn't a scorer like that.
Yeah, Dumars wasn't that guy, yeah.
Alex English was that guy in the 80s as far as, like, scoring the basketball. But, I mean, the 80s wasn't the time for shooting guards. Jordan was that guy. And it wasn't just because he was better than everybody else. It's because, really, there just weren't guys at that position. But he obviously was better than everybody else.
Like Bills is gonna wake up the sleeping dog with the Clyde slander.
Hey,
look, he gonna wake up and do a breakdown video before he wake up and say something to me.
Oh.
Hey, you already know. I'm telling you, you already know how Apex love. He loves some Clyde Drexler, boy.
He loves one-handed bandits.
Hey, he love him, bro.
Who got cooked by Larry Bird with a bad back in '92
and only left-handed. And Bird right-handed,
but it's like
and Bird in front of that game. It's just like, you know what? I don't feel like shooting right-handed today. I got Clyde on me. I go left.
So the thing is, and here's the thing. Like, this is the one shot I'll take at the Jordan stands. They uplift Drexler to basically they bolster his legacy to talk about the guys that Jordan went through. I'm sorry, Drexler ain't the guy that you're gonna use to bolster Jordan's legacy. There's plenty of other motherfuckers you can use. Please don't use Clyde Drexler.
If anything, you have a better chance of using Barkley because Barkley.
See, that's what I was saying.
Use the Magic in '96.
Number 2 with Charles Barkley in the league.
Bro, it's crazy to me. So, yeah, I think the only other interesting part to me that really stood out was the end where Jordan was talking about, it's not fun being Michael Jordan.
Oh, I knew this was.
I'm sorry. I call bullshit. You can't tell me that whoever's listening to this podcast would not be fine with sitting in the fucking most expensive suite of the hotel with the most expensive suit, making the most money on the best team. I'm sorry, bro. I get that the public eye is something that becomes poisonous after a while, but the thing is, you can't say all that. You say you retired because you wanted to get out of the limelight, and then you go and play baseball. I'm sorry, there's a disconnect here. Because
wait a minute.
His excuse changed like 3 times, bro.
Let me see. Hold on. Oh, no, man. Hey, Barkley was averaging 23 and 11 in '92.
Bro, Barkley averaged 10 boards for 90% of his career.
And then he had that, what was it, that 93
93 he won MVP.
Yeah, 93 season he won MVP.
But the stretch of playoff games, the stats, Oh,
Well, 94 he had
man.
94 he had 56 on the Warriors, and they weren't a horrible defensive team back then. That was
like
mean,
what Chris
but
Mullin.
you
Was that Spreewell on the team at that point?
no Mitch
Oh no,
Richmond.
Mitch.
Mitch
Oh,
Richmond.
I forgot that was the other number 2.
That was the Don
That was
Nelson.
actually Mitch was the I always thought Mitch was the better number 2 than Clyde. But, you know,
Really?
Mitch
Hey,
Richmond.
listen. I'm not gonna say.
Man.
I'm like
I'm not
people bring
gonna
up
say
Clyde Drexler. People would seem like they bring up Clyde Drexler because of his nickname
Yeah, I'm not
more
gonna
than
say
his actual game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say and disagree, but you're like one of the first person to say that. Like Mitch over Clyde.
I can't say for a whole career, but I would say Mitch Richmond.
He was nice now.
Had certain years where it's like, really, y'all motherfuckers talking about Clyde Drexler?
And not only that, I mean, some years when you like look at him like, yo, he's definitely like top 1-2. Mitch Richmond was nice at one point. Now I will say that, you know, he was good.
Yeah, Drexler just I just think he gets
and then you also got to bring up the fact that his name actually popped up in the middle of the documentary just in passing. But, you know, if Petrovic doesn't die in a horrific auto accident.
Man, yo, dude was Curry before Curry.
Drazen gave Jordan work one time.
Yeah, he did.
So we're talking about a bunch of people we can probably bring up before we bring up Clyde Drexler.
And that Drazen Petrovic against Jordan, I think that video's on YouTube when he actually.
No, well, I wouldn't go that far. Nick Anderson was a bum in certain cases.
Hold on, ain't Nick Anderson the one that missed the 4 free throws
in a row?
Yep.
He gets no love.
Yeah, he out of here.
Yeah, but I mean, Drexler is like, it's like I could easily name 10 guards that are better than him. I mean, fuck, it's easy. So for them to make it seem like, oh, it's Clyde versus MJ, get the fuck out of here. It's Clyde versus MJ, and Clyde's about to get cooked. And literally, the media did that to Clyde because they hyped it up, and they made it seem like that. And Magic Johnson made it seem like that. And that's why Magic said I had that conversation with Jordan the night before. He's like, "You already know I'm about to give this motherfucker to work."
Yeah, I need to get my Drazen Petrovic jersey again. I let my cousin get it, and he never gave it back.
Didn't at one point they have like a sky blue jersey for
that was dope, bro.
Yeah, them ones, them 92, 93 ones.
That Derek Coleman.
Kenny Anderson.
Oh, Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson. Damn.
Yeah, I need to get my jersey back. I just noticed. I just remember I let him borrow it. You probably don't have it anymore.
So the thing with Mitch Richmond was he was coming into his own. They blew his knee out.
Yeah, and then he played for the Wizards.
This Nets jersey is amazing.
But then the other thing was the West was like really, really tough back then. So the Kings weren't ever gonna get.
Let me tell you something. The early '90s, man, the West was just nasty, man.
Yeah.
The West didn't start to cool off until like really like mid '90s, really when the Jazz started winning. But before then,
because at that point the West was fucking top heavy as hell.
Right. Well, before then, like 91, 94, between those times, like they say, like right now, how it was tough to get out the West, like in the mid 2000s. It was you could make an argument it was just as tough back then.
But you know what though? That's why. This is a little off topic, not really. This is why I put the 01 Lakers as one of the greatest teams of all time, because you look at that playoff run, the only game they lost was Iverson scoring 48 in the first game of the finals. They swept the Blazers, they swept the Spurs, they swept the Kings in a row.
Right. Oh, the 01 Lakers was nasty, yeah. I agree.
So it's like that's insane. But none of those teams were built to beat the Bulls. People can debate the Rockets all they want to. I'm sorry.
No, and I be trying to tell Uno this because Uno's from Houston. He loves the Rockets. I was like, look, if it wasn't for Jordan, quote unquote, departure, they could have possibly won 8 in a row.
I think the Magic beat them that first year.
Second.
No, I think they beat them that first year though.
I'll give them the second one.
No, it was the Knicks. You talking about that beat the Bulls?
I'm saying I think they would.
Oh, okay.
If Jordan would have stayed, I give the Magic a fighting chance the second.
Oh, I think the Pacers in one of those years might beat the Bulls. I just think the Bulls were kind of
possibly. That's probably I can agree with that. I mean, I'm not trying to look at this through my Bulls goggles because I am biased. But I mean, to be fair, if you was to give it to, I think the Magic in '95 would have probably done it because the first time it would have been the first time, but the second time I think they could have got him. And in the Pacers easily because the Pacers was already like they were ready. And they were a little bit more, right,
top to bottom to pretty much win a title.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right, I give the Pacers the first go around in '94, but in '95, I think the Magic would have chalked that up as experience and got him the second go around.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, Ravens Nation said, "Do you think the late '90s Spurs with Tim Duncan and David Robinson would have beaten the Bulls?" What y'all think?
I don't.
Wow. No, it's not even that. So we're basically talking about the team didn't break up in '98, and they played Yeah, that's right. The team didn't break up in '98 and went up against the Spurs in '99. Nah, I think the Bulls would beat them.
I think. Here's the issue.
Damn, what? That wound up being the strike shortened season, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the strike season. I think the Bulls would beat them. I think the Bulls would have got them.
The issue with the Bulls would be
probably fatigue.
Well, that because remember how many years they went to the finals in a row. But
now, mind you, this is a short season. Now, if it's all 82, then
but we're talking about like continual
general,
fatigue for going back to back to back, and then you talk about Jordan and Pippen who have done it twice.
But with a shortened season, I mean,
but here's the thing. Also, BF, remember, let's say they didn't break up and somehow they brought everything back together. There was still turmoil, so it would be '98 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Plus more time for that shit to finish because it was a strike. But then let's look at the matchups. I mean, holy shit, who's guarding Duncan? Who's guarding Robinson? Sean Elliott will get neutralized and Jackson get the fuck out of here. But Avery Johnson driving and kicking is a bit of an issue. And like I said, they're going to kill the Bulls on the fucking post. I mean, that's going to be terrible.
Because at that point, the game itself is changing.
That'll be interesting to see. I mean,
it would be interesting, and I could say that maybe the Bulls sneak out in 7, but holy shit, they're going to give up 20 and 10 to both them dudes. And that might be enough with the rest of that supporting cast for the Spurs that year to, I don't know, man.
It would really be tough because the finals format was 2-3-2 still at that point. Yeah, so if Chicago,
but you figure the Spurs get the home court, right? So because they're in the West with the top heavy ass West.
But you know what? It would favor the Spurs to not have home court advantage, so they can get that 3 in the middle. Because I see that they possibly steal one in Chicago.
Yeah, if they beat the Bulls, you're right. They're going to need that. They're going to need that format to beat.
Because it would be tougher to beat the Spurs at 3 straight games in their arena than it was the Sonics.
Yeah. If it was the other way around, the Spurs would have a problem.
Okay, let's go a year forward. 2000 Lakers or 98 Bulls?
I think
because now you basically have Shaq. You have Kobe, who obviously wasn't scared. We already saw that in the 98 All-Star game.
Now, I think the 2000 Lakers will take them. The fatigue definitely sets in.
At that point, yeah.
But hold up.
You're looking at a team that pretty much younger, not only younger, but they're a little more experienced as well because you got to understand what Shaq went through with the Magic, and then you see the other people around them.
Horace Grant's on that team.
But wait a minute, hold up. But here's the thing. If we're talking about like if the Bulls continued on to that point, so the Lakers don't have Phil Jackson. They're not running the triangle.
Well, that's true too.
You're talking about what's his face?
That's not a fair
white-haired dude.
Yeah, that's not a fair comparison because Phil Jackson.
Yeah, that is true.
I that's why I was looking at that.
Yeah, I gotta act that. Okay, that's true.
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah, if you were just talking about the two teams, like as far as Phil Jackson's coaching both teams, and you got the triangle being ran. It's the triangle versus the triangle, which we still have not seen yet.
Right.
I think if we look at it that way, the only issue that the Lakers would present to them is Shaq. I mean, Shaq is, oof, man. I mean, Shaq almost beat them a couple times by himself. Like before before Penny got there, like before Penny like got into his own. Ugh. I mean, I don't
You
know.
know what? I just thought about this. Why has there only been just one team in a certain given time period that's ran the triangle? Like one team. Because the last team would have run it with the Knicks.
People
But
don't
that was
believe in it. They just they don't believe in it, and it's too hard to teach and it takes up too much time.
But it would have been more possible in the early, maybe in the early, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. But,
Yeah.
you know, I could see it not being, you know, believable later on, especially watch the Knicks run it. Oh, God. I'm like, 2K actually pulled that off as far as how they weren't able to run it.
Right.
Because the ball would go right to Carmelo, and all of a sudden it was just stall out.
I'm gonna send. Did you get that picture that I sent to the DM VF? We're not gonna share the screen, obviously. So there's a picture that I sent. Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, I'm sorry, said Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard ever, but he's a freak of nature. Isaiah Thomas and John Stockton are the two best pure point guards ever. What do y'all think about that?
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I just have a problem with Charles Barkley's statement prior to possibly talking about that, because I know he was mad capping for MJ at the beginning, you know, after the documentary went off, and I tweeted about it because the way Barkley was talking, he was talking in like his cadence was the same throughout the whole thing, and it was just like it just didn't seem authentic what he was saying. Even though I you know, there's no argument with what he was saying, but I just felt like he didn't really want to go out there and say it, or I don't know. I know that him and MJ are no longer friends because of, you know, statements that Barkley has said that, you know, and me and Bill's talked about this beforehand. I know I brought up the whole fact that he was critical of his management skills, but then Bill's brought up the point of the fact that, you know, Barkley is not a yes man.
Well,
and was trying to,
before we get into Barkley, let's talk about the statement about Stockton and Zeke, because the thing is, okay, so when I think pure point guard, I think the job of a point guard in general is to put your team in the best position to score. Now that could be passing or scoring. I think that's what a pure point guard is. He's not overly scoring. He's not overly distributing. He's doing it based on the feel of the game, dictates pace, etc., etc. Stockton, I have no issue with him in that place, but I think people are being a bit harsh with Jason Kidd.
Yeah, because to tell you the truth, if there's no Karl Malone, there's no Stockton.
That's what I'm saying. The pick and roll was a staple of that team, and if Stockton has to step up and score even 5 more points per game, that team's gonna fail.
I'm like, who's he gonna pass it to? Hornacek?
Jason Kidd had no dominant post guy his entire career, damn near, until he got to Dirk, and he was washed by then. No disrespect to J Kidd, but come on, he'd already played like 18 years. So
yeah, because I forgot Derek Coleman was someplace else by the time.
But Dale Daly
came into it.
Dale Daly, the thing is, it's not that he couldn't score, but we're talking about a different type of scoring now. This isn't scoring because you can. This is scoring because you have to. Jason Kidd scored in certain games because he had to. He had no second option. Kenyon Martin isn't a guy you throw the ball into a post and say, well, weak East. I mean, he had to get through Indiana. He had to get through Philadelphia. He had to get through Milwaukee. All those teams had 2 big-time players on their team. The East definitely wasn't weak back then, bro. But you want to talk about weak? Let's talk about that Western Conference once you get past the first 3 or 4 teams. I mean, it's just
what year are we talking about?
Well, he's talking about, I guess, the 90s, and then Jason Kidd's Nets were early 2000s. I mean, how weak was the East really when you think about it?
In the early 2000s.
I mean, you had the Pacers. You had the Knicks.
The East was pretty weak in the 2000s.
With the Pacers, the Knicks, the Sixers?
The early 2000s? Yeah, they were.
Because what was the Nets starting lineup? It was Kidd, Kittles, Van Horn, Kenyon Martin, and some
Kendall Gill?
Center. No. Kendall, I think, came off the bench.
Okay.
They had Kittles, Jefferson as a rookie, Todd McCullough as the damn starting center, and Kenyon Martin.
Yeah, but wait a minute. They had
Chris Van Horn. Chris Van Horn was 02, right?
Think so.
No, Van Horn was there before.
02, I think 02 and 03. I think he came in 02 and I think he stayed in 03. I mean, I don't think the East was as weak. I mean, especially when you consider those teams were built for playoff time. The Knicks had Patrick Ewing, Allen Houston, and Latrell Sprewell, and two of those players were at their peak.
I think the East had good teams. I just don't think they're as strong as we think they were.
No, they weren't as strong as the West, but I think as far as like looking at the Nets team and the fact that they were getting the first seed every year is what's impressive to me. I mean, those dudes were getting to the finals back-to-back years, and you just knew they weren't going to win. But the teams that they went through just to get there, I mean, I think that Jason Kidd doesn't get enough credit for the fact that, I mean, and then he averaged 6 boards for his career as a point guard.
Right.
But to go back to the conversation, pure point guard, I think Oscar Robertson has to be in that conversation. Zeke to me wasn't really a pure point guard. He could do it, but he carried the scoring load a lot of nights. So, but Charles Barkley also, after they didn't include the full quote, he was basically talking about guys of guard height. That's what he meant by pure point guard. He was talking more so about height. So, I mean, Stockton, I can't argue with. Somebody said Chris Paul. I mean, he's as far as regular season, I mean, doesn't get much better than Chris Paul, but we all seen the playoffs.
I just shrugged my shoulders at Chris Paul.
Yeah, he's one of them guys that's okay.
So, what do we take from the 93 season with Charles Barkley? What do you guys take from that? Because a lot of people was trying to compare this guy to Draymond, saying Draymond was better, saying all this stuff. I mean, I hope a lot of people who was actually watching this and thinking about Draymond was just as good as Barkley. I hope they got a lesson learned.
Charles Barkley was a problem. Draymond Green was a problem to his own team.
I was about to say.
So we can stop it right there if you really want to just call it for what it is.
Well, here's the thing. So I think former players have kind of done this and made it this type of culture where rings, no matter how you got them, are created equal. And I think that's bullshit.
Right.
Because then in that case, that means Robert Horry has the right to talk shit to somebody.
Or Steve Kerr.
Green.
Or Steve Kerr. Yeah, Steve Kerr.
So it's like, I mean, shit, how many of the Celtics got carried to the Hall of Fame and carried to 9 rings? At least,
man.
Bill Russell.
Listen, man. When Rick Fox start talking, everybody shut up because he got the rings.
Right. I mean, shit, everybody gonna listen to Charles Haley in NFL too?
Right.
I mean, it's so Draymond saying, well, he has no rings, so he can't talk to me. Motherfucker, nobody wants to talk to you. You have no credentials.
This dude would never put up the number that Charles Barkley put up in his career.
Draymond Green wouldn't be on a roster in the 80s.
Man, all I know is that Charles Barkley was the number one option. Draymond Green just couldn't even sniff number one action.
I guarantee you Draymond Green would not make any top contenders roster in the 80s.
He could
make one now. Damn the 80s. He could make one now.
Man, Draymond Green could not carry a team. Charles Barkley was able to carry the Phoenix Suns to a finals.
And we're not even looking at stats. Like, we're just looking at, okay, look how ineffective you were without the top 2 players. And you have the nerve to talk about a man that first carried the Sixers, then got his way out of there, then went to Phoenix and carried them, where his third best player was fucking Richard Dumas. Okay, now KJ was a problem. I ain't gonna come at KJ. I ain't gonna talk.
That man dunked on Akeem Olajuwon.
KJ was the man. Okay.
Oh
but
yeah, I mean Kevin Johnson was dope.
But you had KJ, you had Chuck as the main guy, you had Dan Marley pitching in, but holy fuck, you had Dan Marley guarding Michael Jordan once again. Bulletin board material. That's why he got cooked up for fucking 55 or whatever it was, 56. So, I mean, what I take from it is that I already knew Charles Barkley was a fucking problem. And his build was not indicative of his athleticism. And his build was not indicative of his effectiveness in the post either.
I look at it like this. You talk about somebody that he had an inside-outside game. He actually one of the few, I think one of the first tier, like I would say first generation stretch fours, if you put him at the 4. Like he consistently made his shots. Draymond, on the other hand, you can leave him alone playing defense. So Draymond and Green can go to hell. I compare Charles Barkley to basically Bernard King, except the difference is Chuck was a little bit wider, but they both had similar games as far as like posting round mound of sound.
Yeah, I mean, they both ran the floor, and once they were like a damn just train just going downhill. You moved out of their way because they were dominant as far as they were just physical beasts. They both were similar to me. But Chuck, he was amazing. He was at 6'5", the most dominant post player in the league at that time. He only had 2 moves. He only needed 2 moves. The fade, he could face up on you, jab, boom, jumper. It's like he could drive past you. If you put small forwards on him, they're getting bumped out of the way. If you put power forwards, they're too slow. So it's like, come on, man. Draymond Green. I mean, come on, fam.
All I know is that Charles Barkley had signature moves. Where's Draymond's signature? On a check that he paid a fine recently on.
His signature move, kicking people in the nuts.
Kicking somebody in the nuts, exactly. Kicking somebody in the nuts or flopping for a call and being mad when he doesn't get it. And Draymond Green.
My uncle hated Draymond Green. My uncle was like, man, he just bitches too much. Shut up and play the game. She's like, geez. He the type of player that, like, if you're playing him in 2K, he would target you the whole entire game. You just have to fight him.
And he's a fake tough guy.
Right. You hit him in the mouth, he'll shut up.
He's one of the motherfuckers that are NBA tough. Break it up.
He looked like he had fake teeth anyway. He looked like somebody already punched him in the mouth.
Like, he's a come break it up ass nigga. That's what Draymond is. I'm tough. They gonna come break it up though, so it's cool. That's what Draymond is. Because when
you're lucky they hold me back.
When LeBron bowled up to him,
you're lucky they hold you back so you don't wind up in the hospital.
when LeBron bowled up to him, he didn't have shit to say.
Right.
So I mean, I'm mad you said that about Steve Smith. What do you mean, Steve Smith? What's on wrong?
I don't think he know it. He's drunk.
Yeah, his Cinco de Mayo was putting his ass to sleep.
I didn't say anything about Steve Smith. What do you? Okay.
Oh my God.
But no, yeah. Charles Barkley's a monster, and I honestly think that 94 he was a bit better. In 94, you look at the 56 he dropped on the Warriors that year, and he knocked the Spurs out of the playoffs. I think it might have been that year. Chuck was a problem, man. I think he has an argument for greatest power forward of all time. I think Tim Duncan is, but I think Charles Barkley, anybody who says Charles Barkley is not wrong.
I'll say Charles is a close 2, maybe, but definitely a 3 behind him and Kevin Garnett.
I was gonna ask where we put Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, I'll say Duncan, Garnett, Barkley.
Who rounds up? who rounds out your top 5?
Maybe Kevin McHale and Dirk.
Ooh, Dirk. Where do you put Dirk? See,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know the order, but
put him in front of Kevin.
What about the mailman?
Those. Go to bed, man. Ain't nobody talking about that. Those are my 5 right there. Like you got.
Well, he didn't deliver, so that's
fuck
that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
He delivered elbows. I know that much.
before I answer your question, Young Noble, people need to go back and watch that 2000 final series. Rick Smits was giving Shaq the work.
And he was. Now that is true. Now I ain't gonna
Rick
lie.
Smits was giving Shaq the work.
He was.
What-
I'll give Rick Smith some props. He tried.
Well, Pooh, besides the fact he's a deadbeat rapist, I have no issue with him. Anyway, Noble asks, who do you think guarded Shaq the best? I mean,
Yao Ming was just for a second.
Yao Ming was good for a minute. Rodman did okay at one point.
Rodman frustrated him for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, Rick Smith had his moment.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of too many people.
Everybody had their moments, but you know, Chris Dudley didn't have a moment at all.
Man, Chris Dudley probably saw his life flash before his eyes when he threw that ball, but he's like, I ain't gonna go out like no bitch.
Right.
Daniel Dudley says Hakeem did okay.
He got going to threw that damn ball at Shaq.
Right.
Hakeem did okay. He had his moment.
I don't know.
You know, one thing that was brought up brought up during that documentary was the fact that when Jordan's talking about back, I don't know if it was Jordan that was narrating this part, but it was talking about being in the league where people were grown. Now it's like you had like real grown adults playing in the NBA at that point versus what you see now. I'm like not saying that they're not grown, they're just not grown men playing in the NBA. You got a lot of finesse going on in the NBA, so you don't see the tough guys that you used to see.
Let's talk about Kobe and MJ for a minute.
Oh yeah, that's one thing we kept, because that brought some people to tears. Not me, but I'm just saying.
I think some people on Twitter. I think some people on Twitter was faking, but that's another.
Well, I'm sure they were, because I remember one person that got mad because I mentioned Kobe, not this past, but I mentioned Kobe as part of a life lesson that people can learn.
Some people on Twitter.
And he had a fit because he was like, "How can you turn a tragedy into a life lesson?"
Like some people put on Twitter. Okay, now I'm crying.
So here's what I'll say. Okay, and I'm sorry. Sappy people can take it however the fuck they want. There was zero sappy shit in that entire segment with Kobe. There wasn't a single.
If you blink, you missed it.
There wasn't a single thing that should draw anybody that already wasn't planning. If you weren't already planning to cry, I'm sorry, you didn't cry during that segment. Okay. And this is coming from a motherfucker who I was like, look, I'm more in shock than anything. I started crying when I watched the Dear Basketball shit. That was completely different.
But what was funny? That Michael referred to Kobe as the Laker boy.
That
Laker boy.
That segment was very interesting to me.
Yo, it's like if he played on my team, I wouldn't pass on the ball. He was like, if he want the ball, he better grab a rebound or something.
It was interesting that Kobe had already basically been identified as that kid that's not scared. Like, he has a chip on his shoulder. He's coming for everybody's head. And he's going to dunk on you. He's going to cross you, whatever. He's going to come at you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Jordan said, like, let the game come to him. He doesn't know that. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck that even means.
Right.
So it was interesting to see Jordan and Kobe go up against each other, and you could tell that obviously Jordan could still pretty much own anybody that he wanted to that was checking him, but Kobe didn't back down, and Kobe played really well in that game. Excuse me, but I mean, I think looking at them two as players, Kobe was great, don't get me wrong, but I think Jordan was the superior player by a pretty decent margin, and we're leaving legacy out of it.
Well, I mean, you got to understand that Kobe, back then, it was second year in?
No, but I'm saying his career as a whole.
Okay.
I think.
I agree. I mean, you got to understand, as talented Kobe was, and it's not fair to Kobe, but a lot of people look at him as second fiddle in that first three-peat.
Yeah,
In the three-peat, and
Well,
it's
he
not
was.
fair. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's not fair to him because it's not like he was set up to be the second fiddle. Like you, obviously Jordan Pippen, Stockton Malone. I mean, they didn't win shit, but you see like you see like the Isaiah Dumars type.
Mhm.
You know who was second. Like, well, you can look at them and tell. But when you see Shaq and Kobe, you can see them as equal. But the way it played out as Kobe just ended up being second fiddle in those three-peats. It wasn't classified like that from the beginning.
Pooh, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. You said if there was no MJ, there would be no Kobe. I vehemently disagree with that. His father played in the NBA, and Kobe was playing against pros at the age of 12 in Italy.
The
I
thing
think
about
his.
that,
I think his. I don't think his mentality
his
would have
style
been
of
the
play,
same.
his
Yeah,
style of play,
because
would have been
as
totally
much
different.
as you can mimic Jordan, if he didn't have that insight from Jordan, there'd be certain aspects of his game that wouldn't have existed. But
Yeah, I
Kobe
mean,
would have been Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe would have been Kobe, but Kobe tell it himself. It's like, yo, he's a student of the game and he learned everything. I ain't say he learned everything, but he basically said, like, when you see Jordan, that's like big brother to me. That's me.
Yeah.
He basically, so it's not that Kobe wouldn't have been there. It's just that Kobe's game would have been different. It probably wouldn't have been that much different because he still would have been a bona fide scorer, but I don't think it would have been to the level of the detail that we see between the two.
Yeah, Kobe was around that game at a very young age. He was around one of the greatest rosters of all time as far as that Sixers roster, because his father played on that Sixers roster with Dr. J and Bobby Jones and Daryl Dawkins.
Right.
He would have definitely been there. But I mean, yeah,
but the thing about him, the fact that he was there, he came a student of the game by default.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, he knew the player that looked like him, or he built this game around him because it was the similar build. So he basically built this game around Jordan. Like, there's no shame in that. He even tell you there's no shame in that. That's who he was.
Generation, yeah.
Right, that's who he was. So.
I mean, shit. People not Kobe for it because Kobe was more successful. But are we gonna pretend that Michael Finley didn't try to do the same shit?
He did a terrible job of it, but yeah, he did.
We're gonna pretend that Eddie Jones didn't try to mimic pretty much everything that Jordan did.
Those were Frankenstein monsters.
I'm not going to
as far as them trying to mimic Jordan.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Eddie Jones did a terrible job. He just fell short. Michael Finley did a terrible job. When you see Michael Finley's game is like nowhere near Jordan, but he tried to have that drive like Jordan.
He tried to, but his jump shot, he tried to kind of copy MJ's. It's
right. It's like when you see the Ferrari and then you try to mimic it, but you end up being that Fiero. You know what I mean? He fell short. Like, no.
So here's my question is, let's talk about all-time shooting guards, because I think it's a debate whether Kobe's in the top 10. I would put him in, but I think there are a lot of players that deserve to be. But let's talk about strictly shooting guards. Is Kobe undisputed number 2 for y'all? Because I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that has a comparable resume other than Dwayne Wade, but I think he's kind of locked into that third spot for me.
I could say number 2.
I can't move him from that 2 spot.
Yeah, I can say number 2.
I can't.
I think I got Jordan obviously 1, Kobe 2, D Wade 3. Where you put Iverson?
As a 2?
Is he top 5? Well, he wasn't shooting guard.
It's a 1. No, he was a point guard. No, he came in as a point guard.
AI came in as a point guard, but he didn't play point guard.
I'm not putting him as a shooting guard. No,
he is a shooting guard.
I'm not putting him as a shooting guard. You saying it's my list? I'm not including him as a shooting guard.
How can you not include
him? Because he was a point guard.
Bills, we know what's up. That man was a shooting guard.
Right.
That man was a shooting guard.
No. I'm not arguing with you guys. I don't consider him a shooting guard.
So Kobe, okay, MJ, Kobe, D Wade. Who's your 4 and who's your 5?
Hmm.
Because I'm trying to think of people, and it's like
A lot of people. I'm not going to say that he's 4 or 5, but a lot of people don't give Steve Smith no credit. That dude was pretty good.
Steve Smith was top 5 in his era for sure.
Yeah, Steve Smith when he played for the Hawks, he was pretty good.
What about Reggie Miller?
Reggie Miller, yeah.
Is Reggie Miller 4 or 5 for you? Either of y'all?
Yeah,
I can say him 4 or 5.
That man was clutch when it came down to it, and plus ain't nobody was running with him. I'm like, he pretty much ran up and down the court. He ran that baseline double screen, long ass double screen that used to run.
Killer, bro. Them double screens was killer.
He would literally that.
Because he knew how to read it, and he was one of the first people that I had ever seen that would, instead of completing the full screen, bear to the corner based on how the defender read it.
See, and that's what I was actually wondering if what the trash talk between him and Jordan was like, if Jordan was guarding him on double screens, because I know Jordan was like probably hissing a fit. It was like, God damn, I gotta run these screens? What the hell? Why is anybody calling this shit?
One thing I'm gonna tell you, this is the one time I was pissed off for Jordan. When that motherfucker Reggie Miller pushed him in that 98 series and caught that ball and hit that fade, I'm like, nah, that was bullshit. That was
was that the game that took it to game 7 or some shit like that?
Yeah.
That was the bullshit. I remember that. That was the dumb shit.
Jerry West, you know what? I forgot about Jerry West.
Jerry West was good, yeah.
So I put Jerry West 4th. And
you can put Reggie 5. You can put Reggie 5. That's not bad.
Yeah, I got Reggie.
What about Ray Allen?
No. This is my problem with Reggie. This is my problem with Ray Allen. If Ray Allen kept his game from when he was with the Sonics and Bucks, I'm right there with you. But once he left him,
wait, hold on. Jordan did not push off of Russell. Let's just get this clear. No, he didn't.
DJ, we gonna do this?
You're talking about there's 2 corrections I'm about to make. Jordan didn't push off of Russell, and John Starks did not goddamn dunk on Jordan.
Oh my god! Okay.
I've been trying to clear that up for like 27 years to these reaching ass Knicks fans that are desperate to have something on Jordan. They couldn't get a W on him in the playoffs at any point in their careers. So just because bum ass John Starks, who ruined, I think what did he go like 1 for 15 in a finals game? Choke artist. He was able to dunk on Horace Grant, and that was it.
DJ, I'm with you. I'm with you on the Starks thing. He pushed Russell, bro.
No, he didn't.
I disagree. I don't think it was a push.
Russell was going one way. So
if he places his hand on him,
he placed his hand, but did he push him? No. And Jordan did not. And Daniel, come on. If you look at the physics of it, Jordan did not get dunked on. Who was underneath? Horace Grant. Horace Grant got dunked on. I've been saying this ever since I watched the game live. I said, and they were reaching. It was an annoying ass reaching Knicks fan in school that day. Talk about, oh yeah, Jordan got dunked on. I'm like, no, he didn't.
We're not going to debate if Jordan got dunked on or not because it's absolutely ridiculous. He did not get dunked on. That's clear as day. This has nothing to do with Jordaneers in this situation.
It's okay, Daniel. It's not the point that he jumped. It's the fact that he wasn't even involved in the play until late, and it was already too late because Starks was already. Who put their hands up and tried to jump with Starks? Horace Grant. That's why they call his ass Ho Grant in the first place.
All right, but no, I mean, so look.
Well, and because he was also snitched too.
I'm not gonna say Jordan needed to push, but fam, that was a push. It wasn't a hard push.
Man, everybody got Ewing.
Well, I mean, come on.
I mean, everybody.
Even Kukoc got Ewing.
Ewing was the black Sean Bradley. Everybody was aiming at that motherfucker when it went to the bucket. But no, I mean, look, I'm not gonna compare that push off that Jordan did to Russell to the Reggie Miller one. Reggie Miller took 2 hands and literally shoved him and ran around 2 screens and caught the ball and shot it. Like, what are we talking about?
Wait a minute, didn't Knicks fans also want to accuse Reggie Miller of pushing off? Because that's how Reggie was able to get those 2 shots off.
That was bullshit. That motherfucker tripped and Reggie Miller was like, I didn't touch him. caught the ball, retreated to the 3-point line, and the fact that they were even in that position to do that, I don't care if you pushed or not. Quite frankly, they shouldn't have even been in position to even make that a game. But the Knicks went and choked like they always do, just like Charles Smith under the basket. They showed that shit.
God! Somebody tried to say how could he not make those? I was just like, easy. He got blocked. He was getting harassed. He got stripped.
He was dealing with 4 of the most active hands in the league between Jordan and Pippen. I mean, easy.
Right. And then I was sitting there thinking, like, what are the rest of the Knicks doing? They were just standing there watching. It's like standing there and watching like a pack of wolves ravage meat.
Daniel,
you just stand there. All you can do is just watch it.
Daniel, Jordan was not 225. Jordan
was 215.
215
from 195. Get it right.
He didn't get 225 until he got to the Wizards.
Yeah, and at that point he had.
I mean that's why
he had knee issues.
Yeah, that was old man's weight right there.
Right.
So let's not do that 225 shit now.
For the first time in his life, he was playing small forward. I was like, hold on, Jordan has small forward? What the hell?
Right. No,
good.
No, I'm just saying he was 215 until 98. I mean,
he was 215.
That was his playing weight. Yeah.
Now, you know what though? He brings up something that I'm going to talk about.
Okay, Charles Smith could have passed out. Where was his outlet? Where could he see where he could pass the ball when he's underneath the basket?
There were 4 people.
He couldn't see anything. You're talking about he could have passed where?
So my thing, okay, this is what I'm gonna say about that 195 to 215. Okay, I will never knock anybody for any type of PEDs or anything like that. I'm not the guy that you come to for that. But Jordan, based on his frame, I don't think there's any way possible he put on 20 pounds of muscle in an offseason without taking something. And look, once again, I'm not gonna knock him.
Back then it wasn't illegal. So,
but that's what I'm saying. It didn't. It's not.
Yeah, some of those supplements were legal that he was probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not knocking it either. I mean, I agree with you.
Like Jordan was who he was. It did not affect him as a player.
Which is kind of crazy that it didn't affect his game, other than make him be able to withstand more punishment.
Right. It didn't make him any better. To the point where it's like, oh, well, he clearly is gaining an advantage. No. But, damn, that's a lot of muscle to put on in one offseason without taking something. I think he did, and that's fine.
But to tell you the truth, I liken Michael Jordan to a Star Wars equivalent of a Sith Lord, operated on hate, selfishness, emotion, and pure anger. So, like, whenever you heard about Jordan targeting somebody, there was an emotional attachment to that targeting. And, a lot of it, like I said, like I mentioned earlier with the whole Kukoc thing, he didn't hate Kukoc. He just hated Jerry Krause.
Right.
So,
it was also smarter for Jordan to put on that weight when he did, because it prepared him for being in the post later in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did.
And yeah, like you
said, we're not talking about that guy, Daniel. You got the
Bradford's ill. Wait a minute, love Bradford Smith?
Yeah, love Bradford.
Ew. Ew. I remember him when he was on the Bullets. Ew.
So, my last question would be, what do y'all think the best version of Jordan was? Because we're winding down in this series here.
Like I said,
I like the second three-peat Jordan better than the first.
But I'm saying pick a year, like 96.
96.
Yeah, 96 Jordan. I like 96 Jordan. It's either 90 Jordan.
Man, 93 Jordan was a terror, man. That motherfucker, you couldn't tell him shit.
Those are my favorite ones.
But
if I had to pick, it'd probably be 96.
I think about 93 Jordan's he's like, all right, now I eliminated the only competition at my position. So now motherfuckers ain't even have anything to debate about now. Now there literally is nothing to debate about, and I'm still gonna whoop y'all's ass.
See, for me, the 96 Jordan
had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he definitely had a chip on his shoulder, but also the shoes that he was wearing that year.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, those shoes were You can't get.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't get any better than those Jordans.
I
You can't.
chased down Space Jams for years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't get any better than those Jordans. I to this day I wish I owned a pair of those, but it was nice to see them make an appearance in football to be worn as football.
Right. They made it. Yeah. That's how popular they were.
T.O. wore them, I think.
Yeah. T.O. wore them. Yeah, he did. A couple of other guys wore them too.
Yeah, I think Adrian Peterson wore them a couple of times this past season.
Yeah.
He didn't have a contract to Nike at the. Well, he might have, but maybe they just let him wear them. Des Bryant wore Nikes a lot too, so I mean, yeah, Jordan. I'm sure he wore them too.
Yeah.
What they called them? Weren't they? You said they were the Space Jams, but weren't they?
No, they were the Concord.
Like the
So the white and black ones are the Concords, the black and red ones are the Breads, and the
blue, the black and blue ones are the Space Jams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have the Gammas, and they have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
So, cool grays and
then also looking at shoes back in the day to the way they're constructed now. Remember he talked about, they brought up the fact that in that last game at Madison Square Garden he wore the actual band ones, and how they blistered his feet in that game.
Those weren't the band ones though. Remember,
those
ones they let him play. The band ones were the black and red ones.
No, isn't that the one he wore in the last game?
He wore the white ones.
No, he didn't. I thought he wore.
Hold on. Say that again.
Hold up.
He didn't wear the band ones. He wore the ones that he wore during his rookie season after they told him he couldn't wear the band ones.
Right. Yeah.
No, he didn't wear the band ones. He wore the regular ones.
Yeah.
And they killed his feet. Because I'm sure his feet grew at least a little bit since
that shit was funny. What he told Ewing too. That shit was funny as shit.
I go all the way back to '84 to whoop y'all's ass.
He said, "I beat your ass wearing fossils."
He could only say that shit to a friend.
Right.
That's part of the issue. They wanted to befriend Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan lured them to a false sense of security and whooped their ass. From Barkley to Ewing to
okay, the white insole ones, not the black with the red.
I wish he would have.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
He wasn't allowed to. So
yeah,
but I think it's gonna be interesting this next game. These next two episodes, they should be talking about the '97 season.
Well, and they also they can't avoid talking about his father being murdered.
That'll probably be the first episode. Then the
second
episode.
They're probably going to talk about that. They're probably going to talk about that.
Because that episode, I'm not going to be, because I remember when it happened, and I was just like, the wind left me, like the air in my lungs left that day when I heard about that, because the fact that
the way he was murdered and shit,
weeks went by before they discovered it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, and then probably the second episode they'll talk about the '97 season, and hopefully
they're gonna talk about the baseball era and all that stuff. They're gonna talk about that.
Hopefully 9 and 10 are just gonna be about the '98 season. Please keep it on the '98 season.
Well, they already started the playoffs for the '98 season with the Nets.
They did, but I'm saying it's like they keep going back and forth.
Yeah, they switch back and forth with it, so you never know.
The last two, just please talk about the '98 season, because I really want to know about that Pacers series. They were close to losing, probably as close as they've ever been before making the finals in that era. So it's like I really want to know what that. I mean, they cooked the Hornets that year. So
yeah, the Hornets and the Hawks got cooked.
Oh God!
That Hawks game with Jordan, once again, I think he was point shaving like a motherfucker, and then he came out of nowhere and started killing these dudes. He did it against New York in '96 too. Yep. He was having an atrocious game. All of a sudden, motherfucker couldn't miss in the fourth quarter. He pulled up 30 in the fourth quarter, something stupid like that.
Right.
So, yeah, they'll probably talk about all that. The Sonic series should be interesting. They're gonna talk about all that shit. So.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, this is where it really gets good. The first 3 years, I didn't really care as much, but those last 3 years are gonna be interesting.
Right,
because you got Gary Payton and you got the flu game, and then you got 98. So
I wonder how they're going to describe that game because everybody has their opinions about what he
About what
actually
actually
had.
happened,
Motherfuckers hungover like motherfuckers.
Well, shoot,
Hell yeah.
one person was just like, if you had the flu like that, you wouldn't be walking. I'm like, dude,
Bro, the flu is debilitating, bro.
It is.
I don't know because I had the flu when I was in basic training. I ran for a mile and some change. So
I mean, yeah, but the flu is debilitating.
And I was in San Antonio, so it was hot. So it's
John Stark sucked in '90. See, he sucked every year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and bitch.
All right, well,
yeah, I'm about to ask you what else y'all got. I mean, we covered a lot as far as the episodes go.
Yeah, and again, making this clear for you dumbass Knicks fans, reaching ass, desperate ass for W Knick fans, Starks dunked on Ho Grant. Period.
You gonna leave that man alone?
What, that snitch? Nah, that's okay. All of a sudden, conveniently had a good relationship with the author of Jordan Rules, which I do own, by the way.
Oh,
And have read and have read it from cover to cover. So yeah.
Well, the last thing I gotta say is fuck Skip Bayless because he's one of the worst Jordan stands out there.
I'm about to ask, why are you still listening to those people, yo?
Oh, I'm not listening to him. I haven't watched that show in ages, but fuck him anyway.
I mean, let me tell you something. That show had so much promise. Like Undisputed was like really good when it first started.
They had to assimilate to what First Take used to be, and got to be taking these drastic sides and have these over the top personalities instead of just debating straight up.
Yeah, debating straight up. Yeah, that's what I'm like. You know,
remember they can't debate straight up because Skip Bayless never had a reputable sports career, much like Stephen A. Smith never had a reputable sports career. So they have to make people who have had reputable sports careers come on and say stupid shit to make Stephen A. Smith seem like he's smart, and Skip Bayless the same.
All right, I might have to clear something up with Daly over here. There was a period when I was a Bulls fan, and it was after '87 that I started following Michael Jordan, and that's when I started becoming a Bulls fan. It was around '87, so I was about 7 years old when I started watching the Bulls and following along and becoming a fan of the team. But I was a fan of Jordan first because I started watching the Bullets. Like I didn't like. Okay, I thought I talked about this a little bit in a past episode, but let me just remind folks. Okay, so I moved up here to Columbia, Maryland back in '85.
Man, what's up with the biography, dog? Come on, man.
Nah, because somebody obviously needs to have this cleared up for them. So I didn't really, you know, do anything with sports up until around that time period. So watching basketball, watching the Bullets, I'm like, who in the hell? Oh, okay, now he's trolling. I'm like, who in the hell is this Jordan cat? He has my last name, and he's like destroying the Bullets. What's going on? Why can't they stop him? And that's when I started watching Jordan, and then he got familiar with the NBA and became a fan of the team, of the Bulls. And I followed the Bulls all the way through, even after Jordan left the first time, even a little bit after the second time, but I always was a hometown Wizards fan throughout the whole Bullet/Wizards fan throughout the whole thing. So,
right.
And also with Pooh, I'm never going to give it up because obviously the Knicks fans haven't given it up. People telling lies, continue to tell lies about that play. But, John Starks never won anything, so fuck him.
All right, what else y'all got?
Shoot, I won a basketball championship, won more basketball championships than he has. Fuck him.
All right, what else y'all got before we go? You got anything? I don't.
I'm good over there.
Another great episode. I was looking at the comments. Yeah, whatever, Pooh. All right, this is episode 140.
Philly ain't winning anything anytime soon.
It's episode 140, man. We appreciate everybody who came through. Another great episode.
Wait a minute, hold up. I thought Pooh, I thought you were supposed to be going to sleep. It's lying like a motherfucker. Talking about I'm going to bed, I'm tired. Must have had his Viagra. So all of a sudden you can't sleep?
DJ, you want to talk to him in the Discord? 'Cause I'm ready. I'm ready to go to bed.
Oh, okay. At least you have a reason. You have a reason for you being tired. I don't know what Pooh's problem is.
I don't know. This is episode 140. Appreciate everybody who came through again. Fan base is kind of growing a little bit. Most people are staying throughout the whole episode now. Good to see that. That means that I guess the content is getting better. iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. You know where to find us. Bills, what you got before we go?
Fuck Carmelo.
Yeah, I ditto. DJ, what you got?
Fuck the Knicks. Fuck John Starks. Fuck the 76ers. Fuck every team in Philly. They all burn in hell. Go Nationals.
All right, y'all. See you guys on Thursday. And y'all guys be safe. Don't be coughing on people and don't let nobody cough on you. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.